Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversation with Calvin, We the Species. And this is part of one amazing 10-day period for me to have been involved in the Garden State Film Festival to do some amazing interviews. It's been a great gift for me. I've been meeting people literally all over the world, including Ross Gilman. Now, by the way, I didn't even ask you where are you right now? Are you in Germany or in England?
I'm in the UK. I'm in London.
Okay, okay. Actually, I hear that.
Yes.
Um, and um, and this is so exciting for me because I'm a creature of film, because film and music, because Ross uh, is a composer. He's a music producer. He's a conductor. He's a violinist. And I've been, and I'm going to say this a bunch of times, I've been to rossgilman.com and I just hang out there because the selection of music for listening is beyond. And I'm a creature of music. And and I love the way you broke it down, Ross, when you broke the music down into drama, emotional, romantic, and comedy, even horror, and thrillers, and action and crime. Um, and I even wrote down some of the songs. We maybe talk about it later, but and again, I told you when before we went on air, I wrote my novel. There's a tortoise in my hair, and what helped me write it and helped me get over the bumps and the walls is music, and you are music. And the only other thing I'm going to say, you were trained at the University of Music in Vienna and the Royal College of Music in London. That's heavy duty music stuff. So, my little monologue. And we're here to promote. You're the composer for the Wedding Veil of the Proud Princess and
That's right.
animation, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about your music, your journey. I mean, we could probably talk for hours because it's like a wow. Your rossgilman.com. It's like Disneyland for music to
You're
discover
very kind, Calvin.
what
Thank
you've
you.
done. Truly. So, monologue is done. Why don't you do a little intro, a little background, and then we're gonna well, actually, let's do a little bio of yourself, and then the first thing I was going to ask you is to talk about your background and how you got started in music and film. So take it
Sure.
away.
Yes, of course, just like you said, Calvin. So I was originally trained as a violinist for many, many years. And I then had an accident, and well, it's not an accident, but an injury that I had happened to my hands. And so I was then faced with a decision: do I con kind of continue music, or do I do something entirely different? And um, since I couldn't perform anymore, I could still compose and conduct. And I've always loved film music, and especially the film music of John Williams. And that greatly inspired me to sort of go back and study film composition and classical composition. And that's how I started my journey as a film composer. So because of my injury, and my parents are musicians, so I come from a musical family, and I never really had any other choice as to become a musician.
Okay. Um, how do you develop skills as a composer? Um, and of course, you did study at these two amazing schools. My goodness. Um, so how do you develop skills as a composer? Are they innate? Are they there? Or you have to develop them?
So I think it's probably a combination of the two. So I've always enjoyed writing little pieces of music, even when I was a kid or a teenager. And so I suppose the love for writing music, or the talent maybe for writing music, is definitely a positive. And then for me personally, so I'm classically trained, and there was a lot that I was able to take away from my university time. A lot of technical, a lot of knowledge, exploring different styles and learning things that I, just wasn't confronted before as perhaps a classical violinist. And after my master's in music composition, um, I think that's where a different part of my journey began. I would say the practical learning aspect, learning by doing. So when I work on a film, there are always things that you learn, whether it's actually about the actual craft of writing music and writing music to picture, or of course, an important part is the business aspect of the film. So how does the industry work? And I think, and I learn uh, every day, and I'm sure I will be. I'll continue to learn for the decades to come if I stick to this profession, which I hope I might. So it's I think my approach was really a combination of classical training and learning myself by doing it.
Okay. Okay. So you also write standalone music because I saw some of that on ROS GILMAN.com, and I listened, and I write down some notes because music emotes me. So you write standalone music. What do you think are the main differences between writing like standalone music and composing music for films and creating music? The difference between standalone and writing for films and things that are not necessarily for movies.
All
Uh,
right. Yes.
yes.
So I think one of the main differences is perhaps that you're entirely free when you write standalone music. So I write a lot of solo piano music, which is quite popular these days. Um, so you're free to write it in whichever mood you want. In terms of film, I it's part of the overall storytelling process. So we've got the acting, the costumes, and the lighting and the camera. They all telling a part of their story, and I think the music is one part of it. So we all serve a greater purpose. The script, the story that needs to be told, and I would say that's probably one of the main differences in my opinion. That we tell a story that's somebody else wrote.
Okay. I always like this question because I always like to ask people who are so incredibly accomplished, like yourself. And you already mentioned one name. What are some of your musical influences over the course of your life?
Yes. So I got into music because of the great maestro Joe Williams, and I was very pleased to hear this to see this new documentary that's just recently come out about him. Um, and so currently, I really I'm a big fan of another John Powell, who wrote a lot of music for animation, like How to Train the Dragon. Oh, How to Train a Dragon, How to Train the Dragon, I think, not sure. uh, and lots of fantastic music coming out by John Powell. Also, Nicholas Britell is another composer
Hmm.
who wrote the score to Moonlight and uh, Succession, the TV series, or the HBO series. So there are a few names, but these two are definitely some great influences and fantastic composers.
I gotta go off topic a second and tell you a little quote music thing.
Yes.
Um, in my life, in my creative life, and writing novels and two novels, and my journalism and stuff. So in some ways, I'm somewhat creative, but sometimes I need I need a kick to get me to do something. Creativity is there, and sometimes it's not. But sometimes I'm feeling if I'm not feeling like super up and I'm not feeling like I want to feel, I go, it's a true story. I go and I listen to Ode to Joy.
Okay.
and it it's unbelievable that that came from the mind of a person, Beethoven. But the power for me, and the power, of course, that's endured for hundreds of years, is unbelievable. What music? I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know because you are, but it just it absolutely takes me and lifts me up,
Yes,
and it works. And
yes.
that's the power of what you do.
Mm. Yeah, I think music has the, like you just said, it has the power to transport you into a state that you might not have been before. So whether it's lifting us up or making us feel something that we haven't felt before, like making us cry or whatever it may be. And I think this is also why it works so well in film because it's manipulating us in a way to feel something. So I yes, it's a
Yeah,
powerful tool.
powerful, powerful stuff. Truly, and I marvel, at their, these great composers and musicians from years ago, that and how their stuff endures. I from time to time, when I also want to get a little kick, I put on Pavarotti singing Nessun Dorma. Um, uh, and there was actually there was a TV show. There was one of those um, TV shows, trying to find, and they had this British. It was from England. They had this British guy. He was selling I think cell phones in a store,
Okay.
and he was also a great opera singer, but he was kind of goofy looking. His name was Paul Potts,
Oh,
and
yes, yes. Yeah.
Simon Cowell and that gang, and maybe it's England Has Talent. I think that was the show.
Yes, yes.
And
But
anyway, he gets up there, and they're kind of laughing at him because he certainly doesn't look like a singer, and he certainly doesn't look like an opera singer. And they're and I think Piers was there too, was one of the judges. So Simon and Piers and a couple of women. But anyway, he opens up his mouth and he starts singing Nessun Dorma, and like, wow, you know. But that's me, when and I go back and I listen to that from time to time, uh, um, uh, because music just lifts me up.
mm,
I don't use it to take me down. I just use it to lift me up.
yes.
So, um, how um, how did you get involved? Because you're there, and I'm assuming they're here. The Wedding Veil of the Proud Princess, which is kind of a neat movie poster. So, how did you get involved in this, Ross?
So this film was directed by Anna Esther Wallisch. She's actually also a London-based filmmaker
Oh, okay.
and animator. And many years ago, we met through an unrelated project. Actually, somebody recommended for us to connect, and then Anna and I we worked on a project together many years ago, and this is actually our fourth one, I think, our fourth collaboration. And this, so we met through a mutual connection.
Okay. Small world, how these things happen.
Yes,
So,
indeed.
for this project, you have to conduct the fame. I'm going to get it right. The famed Macedonian Symphonic Orchestra.
That's right.
What was it like conducting like different kind of orchestra?
Fantastic. So uh, these the Macedonian Symphonic Orchestra, they're fantastic orchestra. They record a lot of film music. So I think they've recently done Batman, the Caped Crusader, which is an animated series, and they record a lot of scores, original scores. And we went to record with them on our first project with Anna as well years ago, and now again for this one. And for me, conducting it's not something I do often enough at this stage. So I've studied conducting at university, but um, I'm hoping to be able to conduct more often. So it is always a real treat to work with such a professional orchestra and
Yeah.
um, the climax really of the music production process. So when you hear this music come alive,
Yep.
it's fantastic.
Wow. Um, can you talk about your general? I mean, this is stuff that's beyond my comprehension completely. Can you walk us through some of the steps that you take when you're scoring a film? Like what are some of the first steps you take when you start, on a new project? Like,
It's the wedding. Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. So for me, as a film composer, uh, I think my first real task, or my first crucial task, I would say, is to try and understand what the filmmaker, the director, um, uh, or has got in mind. So, what's their vision for the music? How can I tell them? Sorry, how can I help them tell the story? I think this is the most important task at the start. And we talk about the style of music, what they want to tell, which emotions we tell them. We talked about emotions before. So, what emotions do we want to convey and the perhaps the audience to feel? And uh, then I usually start by writing little pieces of music. It might just be like a demo on the piano, or and just to try and pin down the language for the film. And I send this to the director or the filmmakers, and when sometimes it's a yes, and sometimes it's, well, let's try something else, and we find this language for the film. And once that's found, and mm, things start moving forward in terms of writing the music for probably the rest of the film. And we're always in contact with, I'm always in contact with the filmmakers, um, or the director, um, throughout the process. But once, I think the really important step is finding out what their vision is, and finding the right language for the film.
It's really the whole process. Listen, I'm a fan of John Williams too. I can't, again, from where I sit, I can't process the creativity of the mind like John Williams, that, each project unique and different emotionally and structurally and visually, it's all different. The story told different, but he captures uh um and takes his art form to such an incredible level.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolute genius.
it's just wow. It's funny. I watched the movie Castaway, and I forgot who was the composer, but
I
the
think it's
music,
Alan Silverstream.
the
Yes, yeah,
music in Castaway, with Tom Hanks, because uh, is extraordinary, and that last scene, the last, music emotes,
yes,
but the last scene when Tom Hanks is standing, in this field, he doesn't know which direction to go, the music playing, it's just tremendous, tremendous how it makes me feel. And that's your world, to make people feel.
that is a great scene, a great film.
Yeah,
Indeed, yeah,
and
definitely.
the music's everything. By the way, it's everything. The music, just because there's really not much dialogue. There is no dialogue for most of the picture, and you rely visually on his face and the things, but it's the music that keeps you into this, and the emotionality of the different scenes, and the music was. But at the end, uh, uh, And I at one time I looked up the composer, and I just listened. I found it on YouTube, and I
Yes,
just listened to that last composition,
yes,
and it's just such a powerful emotional thing for me. So
yes, for sure.
talk about the utmost respect for what you do, because it's a gift.
Thank you,
No,
Calvin.
it's a gift to take people and put them on a carpet and just to kind of sail along there and listen. For me, I told you, it's helped me write my last novel. I could have never done that without music. So you're classically trained as a violinist, as you mentioned. Does this training influence you when you're doing a scoring process?
Yes. So out of that injury, I think came some good as well. So uh, generally, as a violinist, I already know the entire string section is a really substantial part of the orchestra that I'm very familiar with. I've played in an orchestra myself for many years as a student, and my writing also is. Uh, I wouldn't say too often, but every now and then my writing is incorporates this solo violin. And one example is the Wedding Veil of the Proud Princess, which has some solo violin at the start and towards the end, which I recorded myself. Yes, exactly. Um, and I've done another project for at HBO Asia. Worked on a show called Folklore, and the director Billy Christian he also wanted a stringless. Um, he wanted the character to be associated with a string instrument, so that was great because I was able to whack the violin in there as well, and again record the solo violin myself, which is a great treat. So it does influence my writing.
Um, and I just alluded to this when talking about Castaway in particular, and John Williams. But so, what role do you think music plays in storytelling, in film, and then specifically in animated films, uh, like The Wedding Veil? I think music's probably got a huge. You can tell that.
Yes, it just Kelvin, you already said it. So in Castaway, I think when there is no dialogue, for example, when nothing else is happening, the music has the power to tell the story. I was just watching a not so long ago a wonderful film called 100 Foot Journey, 100 Yard Journey, I think 100 Foot Journey, and there is a scene where the family just they're just sitting around the table and they're just eating. All of them are just eating. Nothing's really happening. They're just eating, but the music tells the story. So I think this is one of the ways it can really enhance storytelling. If something, if nothing is happening in dialogue, or if another emotion that's than what's on screen needs to be told. So something else that's something different from what's being said on screen, like a subtext. Um, and in animated film, I feel music um, is got a special meaning, perhaps because we create these worlds from nothing, these animated worlds. There is no real world that we can film them in. So music, I feel, helps create and make these worlds feel real or feel magical or feel whatever the story is. So um, this these are the moments when music really takes center stage.
And I'm thinking back again, to Castaway, and at the end, the music. I'm just giving you an example. The music made me feel. It said to me, the music said to me, looking, at Tom Hanks surviving what he survived and getting off that island and surviving. The music said to me at the end, this is the message, the triumph of the human spirit.
Mm,
That's what the music said to me, the triumph
yes,
of the human spirit. Because look what he went through, look what he accomplished, look
yes,
where he is. And that's how the movie, ended. And that's so that's the powerful stuff that, music conveys, and basically everybody. Um,
very true.
uh, do you prefer, an interesting question, do you prefer working in animation, or other genres as well?
I like so I really like working in animation, but I enjoy working in different genres. So I've worked on horror films, I've worked on drama films
Mhm.
and comedies. uh, so I think I suppose this variety is also what keeps it interesting. But I personally I really like animation, so I watch a lot of animation too, and there's a special place for animation in my heart.
Okay. So, by the way, I'm going to say it again, to folks, to for a real musical adventure and a musical treat, to go to rossgilman.com and just enjoy this diverse collection of emotional music in so many different categories. And I'm just going to kind of hang out there, because I just feed off this and it energizes me to do the stuff that I do. And what a great discovery. So I love what I do because it gives me a chance to meet people like yourself and to discover. So rossgilman.com, is like, it's like a Disneyland for music and emotion. And it's all there for people just to kind of jump into. So
Thank you.
last, official, question. What's next? Do you have anything, that you're working on now?
Yes, but thank you very much again for your really kind words. It's much appreciated. So now for me the next project is actually my debut album,
Oh,
which is coming out on the 11th of April. It's called Emotions in Eight Chapters, and it's a solo piano album, and it will be available on all major streaming services, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or Amazon Music, or wherever people consume their music, YouTube, and etc. So this is the next big step, and yes, I invite everybody who's
good.
into this type of music to
Okay.
mark the day on their calendars.
I just wrote it down.
11th
April
of
11th.
April.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you, Calvin.
So Ross, this has been great. This has been great. Meeting you has been great.
Likewise.
Uh, Lighting my fires for me to explore and to listen and to discover. That's why I love what I do, because it just opens up. And for somebody my age to keep expanding your mind, and to discover people like yourself, is a great joy. And it's probably medicinal. I'm making this up. It's probably medicinal to discover people like you and to listen and to learn and to explore your channel. It's medicinal because it keeps you young and keeps this thing up here working really well, firing. All the neurons and the axons and all that stuff up there keep firing away because you have expanded my mind and my ears.
Yeah,
And as I'm thinking about this, I like what I said. This is a medicinal thing because it does keep you young, and I'm a living example of that. Um, so, I'm also officially welcoming you and inviting you to come back. And actually, when we go off air, we'll talk about, maybe come back and talk about, your debut album.
I'd
We'll
love
talk
to,
about
I'd love
that.
to come back.
But I wish you good luck with the wedding veil um, uh, of the Proud Princess, which is showing at the Garden State Film Festival. Only good luck. I'm so glad we met, and
Likewise,
please come
Melvin.
back. And I'm just going to stop recording. Don't leave.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect.